my top 5, which is what we decided on. The best I can do is a top 6, and and I have a laundry list of honorable mentions.
Okay, here's the podcast. It's me and Chase, and we're talking about video games.
Cool.
Here we are.
Is this episode number 1, or are we doing a new thing?
This is this episode. That's what this is.
I think we're on 77. I think this is
77. Ooh, lucky number 77.
I know, not bad, right?
Not bad.
It's because this is the one where we get Todd Howard to listen to our podcast. He's going to tune into this one, I think.
Why Todd Howard?
All of the piping hot Elder Scrolls takes that we have, but they're good ones.
Oh.
We have good Elder Scrolls opinions, and Todd's going to cosmically be tempted to come listen.
Why T. Howard this time? Why not Hideo? Is this a different podcast?
Yeah, no, well, okay, so last time we invoked the wrath of Chet the Rat, and so now we're in a different universe.
Chet the Rat.
Where,
okay. Oh, sure.
Where our muse is now Todd Howard rather than Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, we killed Chet the Rat, and now all of his variants are coming after us. It's the new multiverse theory of video game optimism.
Just by the way, video game optimist video game variety show. Two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chet the Rat. I mean Chase.
I'm David. Just David. Original David. Don't let any other Davids tell you that they're David. It's just me.
You're variant 0. You're the original.
Variant 0
on the sacred timeline.
How do you envision Chet the Rat? I envision him like Chuck E. Cheese.
It's a very similar vibe, yeah.
Like a more svelte punk Chuck E. Cheese, or like, you feel me on that one? Like, is he punk or is he something else?
I think he is the marketing of punk. He absolutely rides a skateboard. That's like a given. But yeah, I think there is a certain amount of mind flaying power that he does have. So there's a little bit of spookiness to Chet the Rat, of the brave new character that we've created here on Video Game Podtimists.
Chet the Rat, God, it's a powerful name.
I fear that whenever we were talking about the old one, we were just talking about Chet the Rat.
We've now put a name to his visage.
Exactly.
He's one step closer to reincarnating in the world.
He's going to show up on the back of some professor's head in a couple of years here.
For sure.
This is a lot of in-universe video game podtimism references. Why don't we talk about video games, my dude?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Have you been playing those recently?
I have been.
Could you tell me about a few of them?
Yeah.
Sick.
The number one that I've been playing recently is Psychonauts 2.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ooh, it's really good.
It's a good video
really
game,
good.
Right? Yeah.
It's an excellent video game. Just so many good platformers recently. I'd have been quite pleased with their existence. So this game is just great. It's totally inventive. It's new. It's quirky. It's funny. It's not like afraid to just be a video game. You know, some games just want to be more realistic, or this is a war shooter. You're a warrior kind of thing. This is just fun. This is just a video game. It's just it's okay doing that. Just being like silly and fun and irreverent. Sure. But no, it's really great. And I love all the messages of mental health and wellness in it. It's great. It's kind of feels like the game we need right now.
It's definitely pushing a little bit harder on the mental health stuff this time. It felt like the last one, it like was kind of there here and there, but by and large, it was mostly just like a circus that you got to wander through in somebody's head. Whereas now it like there's a little bit more reference to like how someone actually thinks and conceives of ideas and like deals with their problems and shit. So yeah, it's much better in that way.
Yeah, I can't say too much because I'm actually farther ahead than you in this game.
Yeah.
Right now, but a lot of the levels are very ludonarratively not dissonant. Whatever the opposite of dissonant is. They're in that regard. Yeah. Of like, oh, this is how this person is dealing with these emotions. Cool. And it's built into the level, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really excellent game. Besides that, what have I been playing? I played some Risk of Rain 2.
Whoa. I haven't played this game, but I think I know what you're talking about. What is the game overall?
The game overall is kind of like if you mixed it's a 4-player co-op online game.
Okay.
That has like Overwatch style third-person gameplay because you have a bunch of different characters with different abilities.
Sure.
But it's also a roguelike.
Okay.
In that there are 6 different levels that you go through, and you in each level you kill enemies and collect money to unlock different chests that are throughout the level to level up to upgrade your character progressively throughout the game.
Yeah.
And then each level has a big boss at the end that gives you like a special item. So yeah, it's fun. I only have the 2 starting characters right now, but I played it online with some of our buddies from back home, Will and Eric and EJ.
Nice.
We went through and played it.
Sick.
Played a round. And Willie was a robot guy, and he was surviving all these death blows and carried us through a boss battle on one level, and then everybody respawned once we started the next level.
Hell yeah.
Because Willie was a G.
Hell yeah.
It was a beautiful gaming moment.
Yeah, just 4 dudes just be like, Willie, go do it. It's great.
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun game. When the first time we played, I died like 5 seconds into it because like an elite level enemy spawned like right next to my little pod that I came out of.
Sure.
And I was still just like learning how to walk and shoot, and it just
Marked you.
offed me real quick. So yeah, that was a little shocking at first, but no, it's not that hard. But no, it was good times. Fun playing with some bros.
What's sort of like the draw of it? Like what's sort of unique about it, I guess? What's keeping you there?
I think the different characters and their different abilities, like you don't start off all the characters, you have to unlock them. Different playthroughs, there is some meta progression in that you can get these things called lunar coins that will unlock things permanently in the game. Beyond that, I mean, probably just the fact that you get to play with friends.
Yeah, sure.
And interact that way. Like, it's not like a super complicated game to play. The levels are pretty just kind of wide open. An enemy pops up and you shoot it, and then you collect the money to upgrade yourself. Kind of like, I guess it's kind of like mobs, like in like a League of Legends or Dota type thing. Is that what they're called? Am I making a fool of myself?
It's like not the same structure, right? Like I think League is like much more like 5-on-5 rather, but you're talking about like there's like neutral characters or monsters that you go and kill for like
that
experience
you
or
kill
something?
to get experience and money to upgrade your character.
Gotcha.
Essentially.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. The worlds are varied. Like there's a big tree forest planet. There's like an ice planet. The ending planet is just like this crazy asteroid belt kind of thing. Yeah. With these celestial beings that you have to kill.
That's cool.
That are called Grandparent. It's very, very like Bloodborne, Cthulhian, Lovecraftian kind of thing. So that was interesting. But it was fun. It was fun. It's just like a fun little looter shooter roguelike Overwatch game.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like it's fairly popular. Like I see it around pretty frequently, but just have never like really given it that serious of a look.
I guess one of the other things that draws you to the game is that the longer that you spend in it, the harder it gets. So there's constantly a little clock going in the top right hand corner of just like how long you've spent playing this round, this run of the game, and then you see a little progression of the difficulty. So it starts off easy, medium, hard, very hard, impossible, and then it's just ha 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 ha. It just keeps on ha 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 you as it just gets even more ridiculously difficult. Because you can just be like a god at one moment and then just get destroyed instantly by some random enemy who just comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh, I'm dead now. So that was good.
Sweet.
Besides those, I've also been playing Boyfriend Dungeon.
Sure. On Xbox?
On Xbox with Gamepass.
Which is new for you. This is a new development that you have in Xbox.
Yes, I have an Xbox Series S. Figured it was available and $200 cheaper. And still somehow runs on 4K on my TV. I thought it couldn't do that. It's definitely telling me I'm doing. It's telling me I'm doing 4K 60 frames per second. My eyes are not that tuned, so I can't like refute this claim. Yeah, sure. I'm very confused. Yep. But yeah, I've been playing Boyfriend Dungeon. Played that. Fun little dungeon crawler game. Yeah. / dating simulator. It's very strange mashup of genres. I feel like you would enjoy this game, Chase. I feel like it ticks a lot of the boxes of the games that we're going to be talking about later. Yeah. And yeah, just kind of a very funny, unique concept that could really only be a video game, which is neat. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's just a fun environment, decent writing, decent gameplay, nothing like amazing, but good.
Yeah.
Fun game.
Were you privy to the like controversy that was floating around with this one recently?
No.
There is a character in the game, to my understanding, I haven't played it, but there's a character in the game that like pretty explicitly like stalks you, and like that's a part of the story.
Oh god, that guy sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there was like some talk about like whether or not people wanted to subject themselves to that. And I think they added like a content warning as a result of, you know, the I guess social pressure there.
There was a content warning.
Yeah. And like, I guess that makes sense. I think that this is sort of what I had mentioned last time, this conversation about on Triple Click, the podcast. And I think they were alluding to a little bit of this as well, where the game isn't endorsing the way that this person acts. It is subjecting you, the player, to it. And if you want to bounce, like, fair. But I think like it would be unfair to say that the game developers themselves are like endorsing stalking or something like that.
Absolutely
like,
not.
That's definitely not it.
Absolutely not. He is obviously shown us just being like a shitty person.
Yeah.
He's not a good person, but he does like his text messages are just annoying. Calls me like a little hottie and like tells me that, and I tell him I don't like being called that. He's like, yeah, sure.
Oof.
Like,
yeah.
oh, called my cousin who introduced us a loser.
Yikes.
And like fat and shit. I'm like, oh my god, this guy is like toxic.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Then everybody else seems flawed, but
normal,
nice. Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting game. I'm honestly a little more interested in the dating simulator part of it,
Sure,
than the dungeon crawling part of it.
It's a brave new world.
Yeah, I've never been a huge dungeon crawler fan. Mm-hmm. They're fun in this one in that you're going through the dungeon and then you'll enter a new room and it'll be like an ice rink or like a cotton candy stand or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it'll stop and like whichever boyfriend you chose for this level, or significant other I should say, for this level, they will then become their human form again. You'll go on like a little mini date thing and you can romance them that way.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a fun little aspect. You get your like weapon will level up and become more powerful the more of a relationship you have with each of these individuals, right?
Nice.
So it also ties it in that way, which is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an interesting little game. I think it's fun. If you're interested in either of those genres, maybe check it out.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that the dungeon half of it is a little less good than the boyfriend half of it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more basic, bare bones.
Yeah,
but not bad, I would say. But
like serviceable.
Not as engaging.
Yeah.
Not as engaging. So I played that.
Cool.
What else did I play? I played Pandemic, the board game,
on a video game. The video game
the
version.
Gamepass.
That's fun.
We beat it on the last round.
Wow.
We had one of the yellows left. Mm-hmm. If you get 0 cubes, you automatically lose. We had one outbreak left, and we only had one card in the draw pile left. Mm-hmm. We cleared it last turn.
Wow,
it's great. It was a photo finish. Unlocked a rare achievement, ultra rare achievement, I think, for that one. Coming for your gamer score, Chase.
Hell yeah, dude, come get it.
It's like 142,000 or some shit like that.
Got some points.
You got some points, baby. I think that's everything I've been playing.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, nice. I'm thrilled about your journey into the Game Pass library. There's a lot in there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I downloaded a lot of things. I put a lot of things on my download later list or whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
So I'm ready to go.
Sick. Cool. Nice. That's great.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I have been playing some video games. I was a little bit busy in the last 7 days.
You sure were.
I was doing some things. So I didn't have a ton of video game time, but I did manage to get a few in. I think that I usually don't say this, but it's worth noting, like, I'm usually playing the games that I mentioned on a previous episode. Like, it's not like I stop playing the games that I bring up. Usually it's just like, unless I have something interesting to say, or like if I beat it, then I'll bring it back up. But if not, it's like, well, I'm still playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but like, it's still Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't gotten to like the new DLC or anything like that. It's still phenomenal. I'm just, I don't have anything weird to say about it. So worth noting that I'm still playing the ones I've brought up recently. With the caveat that I've been playing a lot more of Monster Train.
Okay. I've been seeing you playing a lot of Monster Train on the Switch.
My goodness. This is a lot of Monster Train recently. It like... I finally got to the part of the game where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable with all the classes. I think I know what I'm doing. There's those like essentially extra challenges that you can do to get like the true boss or whatever at the end of it. And I haven't beat that one yet. And so I'm very much grinding for that achievement right now. Oh man, it's really good. It's a really good video game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Anyway, so the two new ones that I wanted to bring up. One is this game called Curse of the Dead Gods. This I think is on Game Pass.
It is.
Yeah. It has been out for a little while. I think it came out earlier this year, and it like caught my eye a while ago. I think I bookmarked it on Switch or something like that. Like, hey, I should buy this later. But it just happened to come up on Game Pass, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. It is developed by this company called Pastech Games out of Lyon in France. Lyon. I was reading an interview with them, and they said they pretty like intentionally, I think this was an interview with Nintendo Life, they pretty intentionally call out like Darkest Dungeon and Zelda as influences for like their art style, which I think you can kind of see, like the sort of like very shadowy.
Yeah,
and
Darkest Dungeon for sure.
Yeah. Like initially I was like, oh, it must be the same artist like that worked on it, but it's not. I don't think that's the case. Not that's a bad thing, but like you can definitely see the influence there. But the game itself is very different than Darkest Dungeon. It is I suppose like dungeon crawling roguelike. I think it's maybe a little bit closer to like Dead Cells than something, I don't know, like Hades or something like that, wherein you are just going through these levels and the intent is to like beat the boss of them. But each run there's just like constant weapon drops and like upgrades and shit like that. And so you're kind of crafting towards a certain build while you're going through it, rather than like, I'm using a sword this time or something like that.
Sure.
Essentially the game plays out as you're this dude. They give very little background about who this is, which is totally fine. Like, it really doesn't need it. This dude who's like wandered into a like vaguely South American like temple ruin or something like that. Like, it's
vaguely South American.
Yeah, it's non-specific, right? Like, you don't get a lot of information, but you're like, this looks like it could be some kind of ruin that exists in the jungle somewhere in South America.
Sure.
And he gets caught in this loop where he's like essentially grinding through these like levels to get to the top of the temple and just beating bosses. Once he dies, he comes back, blah blah blah. It's a roguelike.
Yeah.
So I think there's pretty standard parts of it. The roguelike stuff is kind of normal, like the acquisition of weapons, the like upgrading of your weapon quality over time, the way that you get coins that you can spend on upgrades in your current run, and then sort of the meta progression stuff that you get over time that allows you to get better chances at getting a rare weapon, or you start off with more choices for what your like build is going to be initially. Dodge rolling is in there, parrying is in there, all that sort of stuff, and like the high level of difficulty. So that stuff I think is pretty normal. Like it's not nothing crazy going on there, but I think there's a couple of wrinkles that they bring to it that are pretty neat. First one is this like curse system. You're constantly like getting little bits of corruption if you just by going through from one like node of the level to another, like there's like sort of your overmap where you get to choose like I need to go this direction or that direction or whatever, and just by going through those nodes you get like 20 points of corruption, which adds to your overall thing, right?
Sure.
And then there's enemies who will shoot you and it will do corruptive damage, or if you don't have the coins to buy a certain upgrade, you can choose to spend your own corruption, which will add like 80 points to you or something like that. And once you hit a certain threshold, when you go to the next room, you will like be cursed essentially. And so there's some kind of negative, kind of positive thing that will happen to you as a result of the curse. So like, one of them is you can't see enemies in the dark. And so you have to like hold your torch up if you want to see them. But you do 20% more damage in the darkness. So like, it's kind of like it just makes the game more heightened in a certain sense. Another one is like, you become ethereal when you dodge. And so like you've got a longer dodge roll time frame, but your torch goes out when you're rolling. And so like you don't necessarily know where you're going.
Spooky.
Yeah. So initially I was like, oh man, it's kind of hard that they're just like giving me making the game harder as it goes through, but they're not necessarily always like that. Sometimes you can kind of turn it to your advantage, which is interesting. And so it forces you to do this kind of back and forth of like, okay, I have, 2 curses right now, if I go and heal, I will definitely get a third, but I'm close to the boss, so I should probably heal, but then, depending on what the curse is, I may have to sort of adjust how I'm playing, and it just sort of goes on and on from there. So I think that that's really interesting, and like the push and pull of like how they structure the negatives and positives are pretty cool and like interesting. I feel like usually in, roguelikes, you don't see that kind of thing where it's like it's both kind of a negative and a positive.
Yeah.
I think you can kind of point to like parts of Hades where you'll have to do those challenges where it's like, okay, you'll get a boon later, but in the meantime, you have like, half your normal health or something like that. So like it's sort of in the same area, but not quite. But anyway, point being that I think it's a very interesting way to like do the game. It's also structured in a way such that when you first get to the game, you only need to make it to like the first boss, and that'll qualify as like a win. And then if once you beat the first like layer of bosses, essentially, which there's just 3 of them, you can go up a tier, right? And then you'll have to beat on a single run, you'll have to beat that first boss that you already did, and then a second boss. And so like, if you're comparing it to Hades, it would be as if you won once you beat Meg, or in the next run, you won when you beat the Bone Hydra, until you were eventually fighting Hades. And so it is very manageable in the beginning. Like it kind of teaches you like, here's how you play the game, and essentially gets your confidence up a little bit before it's like, okay, now we're going to hurl you into the deep end with like, you really have to be careful with your curses and like how you're playing the game and all that sort of shit. So it's good. It's like a good video game. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I don't think it's like the groundbreaking video game that, a lot of the other like cornerstones of the genre are, but it's pretty fucking good and certainly worth like a play if you got Game Pass. Like it's on there.
Yeah, still a good one.
Yeah, definitely still a good one. So yeah, that's one of the games I'm playing.
Cool.
The other game that I'm playing is a video game called Lake. You heard of this before?
No.
This is like, I think fairly recently that I heard about this. It may have been in like the indie showcase at E3, but the thrust of the game is that you're playing as this woman named Meredith, who is filling in for her dad in her hometown. And so she like, I think the suggestion is she works on this like operating system, I think is what it is. It's like a program. And I think, when does this game take place? Like 1986 or something like that. So like, computers are not necessarily very complicated at the moment, but it seems like she's like some kind of software developer, but she's going to her hometown to fill in for her dad, and all he does, or not all he does, what his job is delivering mail and packages. And so as your character, you are essentially just like returning home and reconnecting with like either people that you haven't met before or people that you've known for a long time, and like, oh shit, like Meredith, I haven't seen you in 20 years or something like that. And so it's interesting. Like it is a very lo-fi video game. Like so far as I can tell, and I think from the reviews that I've read, like there's no huge twists or turns in the narrative. Like stuff happens, but it's not like you're going back home and discovering that there's been a murder or something like that. Like, it's literally just like, oh yeah, I remember this place. Or like, I've been over there and I knew this guy, or like I just met, my old best friend, or this diner's named something new or something like that. And the way that the actual gameplay plays out is just that you get in your little mail truck at the beginning of the day, and there's like 10 markers around the map, and you just have to go deliver them. Sometimes there's packages, sometimes there's little like actual, bits of mail that you just put in someone's post box. Other times, like, in the day that I was at yesterday, there was this like cat lady who was like, hey, my cat's not feeling great. Like, would you be willing to take him over to like the dude who works near the dock, because he like knows some stuff about animals.
Not the vet?
Not the vet. I'm not sure if there even is a vet. It's like a very small town.
Sure. Okay.
And so like,
just dock guy.
Yeah, exactly. You take him over there, and then like, he's like, hey, I think she's been feeding these cats cupcakes. So like, just leave them at my house overnight. It'll feel better by the morning.
Damn. That's not for cats.
It's not for cats. Definitely not. And so, yeah, like it evokes a certain amount of Farming Simulator for me, where like, it's hard to get in the right headspace to play this video game. And that's more commentary about me than it is about Lake. Like, I really have to focus on like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm just playing this video game. I'm not going to try and play a podcast while I'm driving around in the fucking truck. Like, I'm just going to play the video game. And like, once I'm able to get there, it's pretty enjoyable. Like, it's very chill and very like, I don't know, it's a very like comforting experience. It's also a neat experiment in like storytelling and video game storytelling. I think like very often there's a temptation to have this like huge grand narrative. And like, obviously, right, like it makes sense. Stories are usually structured that way. But it's really interesting to like, you know, maybe not have that. Like maybe just have a bunch of threads you can kind of pull on and, you know, see where you want to go. But it's not going to lead to like, you know, supernatural events or somebody's a superhero or, you know, the fucking end of the world or anything like that. You're literally just kind of exploring these people and who they are. And so for
small
that,
scale.
yeah, for sure. Very small scale. And so I think like the character exploration there is really interesting. You know, whether or not that makes like a game that you want to come back to all the time, I don't know. I think it's probably for a really specific person. I bet there's a person out there who just like loves this video game. I think I enjoy it and like want to keep playing it. It doesn't sound like it's very long, so I would like to like at least finish it. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting video game. I'm enjoying it. Cool. For whatever reason too, it is just like my computer is struggling to run it. It is not a particularly crazy looking game, but like every time my fucking GPU is like, dude, I don't know, my man. This is I'm getting pretty hot in here rendering this mail truck. Yeah.
Something going underneath the hood.
Yeah. Something is unoptimized or whatever, or there's just like more complex shit going on in the background that I realize. But
underneath the lake is a full size Cthulhu.
Yeah, he's just lurking down there.
God,
that would be terrifying.
That's the second act of the game.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting. Like I think this may be a good game to watch somebody stream it, like somebody who you're like, I like this person as a whole. So like there's some interesting personalities there, because it's much more, I don't know, for me, it's interesting to watch somebody understand someone else. Oh, this person must be like this, or that's weird that they said that. I wonder what they could mean, or like anything like that. It's almost reflective of the person playing it rather than the game itself. So I don't know. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far.
Solid.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Look at us 30 minutes in, getting done talking
this is
about
beautiful.
That's crazy.
My God. That's the quickest we've done this in the weeks.
Like,
months.
20 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get engaged, and then we'll...
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us. Chase is on a timeline now. Let's go.
So, my Podtimistic thing of the week, the thing that is fueling my Podtimism, is this Sonic Colors debacle that is going on. Have you been paying attention to this?
No.
There is a remaster of the video game Sonic Colors that has come out for the Switch.
Okay, I never even knew this was a game.
Me neither.
Sonic Colors.
Yeah, me neither. It's not going so good. for poor little Sonic Colors. Very glitchy. You will see like just the weirdest shit happening. I saw one the other day where like Sonic himself was like, it looked like his character model was going through like every color in the rainbow, just like constantly shifting.
Is that not what you're supposed to have in this game?
No, definitely not. And then he's like running and then suddenly turns into the character model of just like a fish for a second and then just pops back into being Sonic.
He went too fast.
He went too fast. It's true. Yeah, it's very fun. I definitely don't have a sort of attachment to Sonic the Hedgehog. And so this is all just sort of fun to watch from the sidelines. Not in like a bad faith way, but like there's just something special about a bad Sonic game. It takes a little bit of spice. You got to put a little spunk on it. That like other bad video games just don't reach the same heights as a bad Sonic game does.
There's been so many bad Sonic games at this point. I just feel like Sega's trolling us. We're like, this is just our thing. People love these bad Sonic games. Great marketing. People pick up and play it still.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Gets people going.
It really does.
Video game conspiracy theories.
It's so odd because like I played a lot of it on Genesis, and I definitely played the hell out of Adventure back in the day. And like even then I was like, man, this game sometimes is pretty rough. Like it feels not so good. A lot of weird deaths.
That's not good when you're a child thinking that about a game.
No, I was like 10 when I was playing that. So anyway, I'm not to take joy in the woes of others, but I just enjoy a good like wacky game debacle. I'm sure that there are some dipshits out there saying like, oh, it's fucking terrible devs or whatever. Fuck those guys. That's not what I'm talking about. I kind of just enjoy watching a weird game being
a weird
built.
thing going on.
And like from my understanding too, like the original Sonic Colors, all the Sonic fans are like, that was a really good one. So it's a huge bummer that this one is not done very well. Yeah. So yeah, That's
Sonic fans stay losing, unfortunately.
I know, dude.
Poor guys.
Listen. I get it. We're both Kings fans.
I was about to make that parallel too. I bet they're the Kings fans of video games. Oh, that's so bad.
Ooh, it rings far too true.
They had a little bit of glory days back in the time. They're going up against Mario the Lakers. The toe-to-toe, but since then it's just been
not so good.
A sharp fall from grace.
For anybody not listening in, I guess, like the western part of the United States, Kings are a basketball team from where David and I grew up, and they're, to put it lightly, they're not very good.
Been bad for a long time.
And they haven't been for quite some time.
Long time. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, they'll have like maybe a good start to a season every now and then, much like a Sonic game, and then just sort of peter out and have like the second worst record in the league or something.
There's been so many false starts and false hope.
Yeah, happens every year. You're like, oh, they're looking good.
And there's that year we finished 2 games below 500.
Yeah, baby.
That was good. That was a good one. That was a good one. That was great. Best year.
Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors was a good video game.
Oh God, just put a fork in me.
What do you have something fueling your sense of optimism this week, David?
I do.
What is it?
It is the physical design of the Xbox Series S.
Tell me more.
It's so small.
It's teeny.
It's so plasticky and white. It is just all sharp edges.
Yeah.
It is a big old rectangle. Actually, it's a small, medium-sized to small rectangle.
Yeah.
And I love the juxtaposition of it against my PlayStation 5 right next door.
Yeah.
The big old curvy boy. Big old curvy boy and tiny little square angly boy just sitting next to each other. It's an odd couple, but they work. They work well together.
The Series S is almost GameCube-esque in its design.
It is. I was literally thinking, like, I could probably like mount a small screen to this and like make it portable pretty easily.
You gotta just drill into the console and put one of those carrying handles onto it, just like the GameCube, so you can take it wherever you want to go.
Drill into the thin plastic of the
fine.
console.
There's nothing in there.
Not glue it on. Drill. We're drilling, baby.
Gotta be secure.
Easy peasy.
But yeah, just like the design of it, where it's like this is it. This is the thing that we're doing. There's not a lot of like character to this design. It's just this tiny little box that's gonna play your video games.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little box.
Yeah.
No place to put a disc. Just a box. So that was cool. Yeah. And I also like the physical design of the controller. The controller is quite nice.
Yeah.
I really love the little bit of texture that they put on the back of the controller to put my nice little fingies on.
Yeah.
I love that. I just love the feel of like those little bumps there. It just feels like that controller ain't going nowhere in my gamer rage or sweaty palm moments, you know?
Sure.
Staying in them hands.
I also really like the like kind of soft cushion at the bottom of the triggers. There's like it's not quite the like plastic click that you got with like some of the older stuff. It's very much like a that happens once you at the bottom of the controller. So yeah, it's a good controller. I feel like the controller design like this generation is just absolutely nailing it. Like both consoles are very good controllers.
Oh, one other thing. The contrast and textures they use on the controller is nice, especially on the joysticks, where the recessed part is very smooth, but the area around it has like a nice rubbery texture to it. So those fingers ain't falling out of them.
It's got the like all-wheel terrain on the sides.
It's ATV on the sides, slippery boy on the insides.
Huh.
Oh no. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a good controller and a good cool system.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to by chance move on to our main thing?
Let's do it.
Cool. So I was texting about what we were going to do for this episode, and you, I think, possibly laid a curse on me when you suggested what we should do for this episode.
Oh yeah,
you suggested doing like the
curse of the old DOS.
Yeah, you suggested doing best Ding Boy video games.
Sure did.
Which I suspect we should clarify, like, what that means if somebody is not necessarily familiar with our entire catalog of lore.
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so, like, it's a bit of a vague definition, but I think to me, like, Ding Boy suggests a certain amount of, like, satisfaction in progression in a video game.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty broad category because I feel like there are certain games that are very ding boy that we describe as ding boyish, but others that like wouldn't necessarily qualify for that, but we still describe as ding boyish. So my read is usually that we are just describing the game acknowledging that you are progressing in some way or another.
In some way or another, whether it's a large task or a very menial task.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, for sure.
Which was why my idea for why we did this for Labor Day. To appreciate the menial workings of some of these ding boy games.
Sure, yeah. You're putting in the work, man.
You're putting in the work to get that ding.
Putting in the hours to make the numbers go up. So, as our resident ding boy, this
you sure are.
This category was agonizing for me to try and put up my top 5, which is what we decided on. The best I can do is a top 6, and and I have a laundry list of honorable mentions.
I struggled to get 5, to be honest.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah.
I have 6 actually. We could each do a top 6. How about that?
Listen, you're more than welcome.
Because Labor Day was September 6th.
Oh, wow. Sure enough. Let's do top 6. Then I can take the question mark off of this one in my top 6 list.
But I have no honorable mentions.
I have so many, David.
So I believe it.
I'll put some chapter markers in there for everyone who is so bored at the honorable mentions that you just want that hot number 1. But
give me numero 1.
But I will have some things to say later on. Well, fucking sick. Why don't we do this? Mm-hmm. Get down into it. Get in this Labor Day, which is now a week ago. As you're listening to this.
Labor Day. The laborious day.
Okay, do you want to start or should I?
I'll start off.
Okay.
I'll start off.
What's your number 6? Best
Six.
Wow. What's your number 6 best ding boy game?
Were you feeling the Monster Truck Rally vibes when I said that?
I was feeling the Monster Truck Valley.
Monster Truck Valley. That's a video game.
That's a video game or the title of our next fiction that we write.
Monster Truck Valley featuring French Onion Larry and Chet the Rat driving Grave Digger.
I was just about to say, and Grave Digger.
Grave Digger. Oh God, ridiculous. Huh? Anyways.
What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Rocket League.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, since I am not as much of a pure ding boy as Chase.
Sure, yeah.
My thought process was games that just get me to keep playing.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. And Rocket League definitely gets me to keep playing via just the level progression of my car.
Yeah,
and unlocking new little decals, getting all the different perks or rewards for getting all the what are they, quests or challenges for the
daily
specific
challenges
season, the daily challenges and the season challenges to give you new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely gets me going, gets my dopamine button pumping.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty good one. I like that game.
In the honorable mentions, I just wrote multiplayer games because most of them do this now.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you get some kind of level and like you're able to track a certain amount of progress over time. And yeah, those dailies will really get you. Mm-hmm. Really get me going.
I remember you and Hearthstone were big on that.
Oh my God. Well, Hearthstone too, like, because it would give you in-game currency to buy more cards, man. Oh my goodness. Not just a level, but you could get more fucking cards.
Yeah, bro.
Come on.
They knew how to get you.
Oh, I didn't even mention Hearthstone in here. Fuck. Oh, God. This is an agonizing process. There are so many games that I was like, I can't not.
This is really your segment, honestly.
Partially. Yeah, it's you saying good games that have good progression and me dying and moaning in the corner talking about how I can't choose my children.
Yeah, it's more like, I guess it's like progression that almost is like manipulating you into keeping on playing in a way. That's kind of what I feel like a ding boy game is for me. Like, I just need one more ding. Just need another ding. Just ding me again, baby.
It's partially that. I think like progression, like inherently, it's just part of a video game, right? Like it's, you have to progress to make the video game continue. But there are definitely games that use it in a more direct way to like keep you coming. But we'll get into it. There's a lot of games to talk about.
Right, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Cookie Clicker, David.
Cookie Clicker?
Cookie Clicker and the like. There are many games that are like Cookie Clicker.
What is this?
So Cookie Clicker is, I think it originally was like a browser game or something like that.
Can I have another cookie, please? Is that game?
No, it is the game where you click there in the very beginning of the game. It's like the goal of the game is to make more cookies and to sell more cookies. Okay, great. Initially, the only way you can do that is by clicking a big button on the left that says make a cookie, and you will make one, and then it'll sell, I think, almost immediately. I don't even know if there's a difference between those two things mechanically. And you'll get some money for that. And yeah, that's the initial thing. On the right side, there's like a series of upgrades that you can get. Like, you can hire someone to also make cookies so that you don't have to click the button all the time. You can just passively be making more cookies. You can upgrade it such that when you click, you get 2 cookies instead of 1. You can make it such that your cookies are worth more money so that you're selling for more and making more income. And that just continues to escalate and escalate until you're making like cookie factories. And you've got like, quantum cookie machines that are like folding in on themselves to make a shitload of cookies.
Imagine it. Your name in cookies.
It's pretty good. Thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of games like this. I think something
the
like
snowballing effect
exactly
of automation and capitalism.
Very much. Game. I mean, it's commonly used as a way to critique capitalism. There's a lot of games that do that, and like
right.
It's just sort of a comment on like, when does this stop? When do we like, when is this enough? And it's pretty effective at that, because like kind of once you're like moving and grooving, you're like, I would like to keep going. And then like, how do you actually know like, okay, this is fine, we're good. So yeah, there's a ton. I think Space Plan is a more recent game that's like this, where you're initially starting off with very small metrics and like, slowly gaining more energy to do more shit. Space Plan's a really good video game. It's a mobile game. I think it's like, it's very cheap. It's probably like $5 at most. And you can beat it within a day. It's not long at all. Whereas a lot of games use this mechanic super manipulatively, right? Like, I think I played this for a little bit, but something like Egg Incorporated, it's a very similar kind of game where you're just making eggs, but at a certain point your progress gets super duper slow. And they're like, well, you could speed it up if you want to buy our boosts for real world money. Whereas like Cookie Clicker and Space Plan, like it's either a flat rate or it's free, and like you just get to kind of experience the satisfaction of like starting very small and getting very big. You could almost lump Katamari Damacy in with this, in the sense of like you're very tiny, and eventually you are rolling up shit that is inconceivably larger than you were initially. Similar kind of games in my mind, not mechanically, but just like theoretically, I guess, or
the snowballing of it all.
Exactly. Yeah, you're experiencing the curve in a parabola. And like, it's fun. That part of it is fun. So yeah, definitely like those kind of games get the dopamine hurling, because like the first time you upgrade something where you like double your output is just like so satisfying. Or like anything where you're just like exponentially increasing how many units of whatever you've got. It is so good. Like you're suddenly just so much faster than you were before. In the same way that like in Katamari Damacy, when you roll up a truck for the first time, it's like suddenly you can like actually roll up a bunch of other shit because you're suddenly, X amount bigger. It's fucking good. God damn. So yeah, that's my number 6.
Cookie Clicker.
Cookie Clicker. It's worth a play. It's only I'm sure. Yeah.
What a left field.
Yeah.
Left field pick. Bing boy. My goodness.
Do you want to tell me about your number 5?
Yeah. God, I look like such a basic bitch compared to you. It's The Witcher. The Witcher 3.
Hell yeah.
The Witcher 3. More based on just the quality of every quest in this game just makes me want to keep going.
Yeah, sure.
And also just even the small menial things are kind of fun. Collecting Gwent cards. I kind of found myself doing that in this game a little bit, even though I never really even played Gwent.
Yep.
Just like I just need them for my collection. Yeah, that's about it. So I gotta say about that after Chase went on a 10-minute diatribe about Cookie Clicker and how great it is. I'm just like, I like The Witcher 3. It has good quests that make me want to keep going. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That is totally fine. I was just gonna say, like, I think that The Witcher does a really good job of rewarding you with story beats after you do a certain amount of quests. Like the progression is just like experiencing more of the world, because it is really fun and really cool. I also think that like the progression of your monster hunts like get increasingly more fun over time.
Cooler monsters, bigger game.
Exactly, yeah. And so like I think that level of progression is really cool, and it ties into like how good you are playing the video game, because they do get quite difficult at certain points. So yeah, love that stuff. Witcher's a good one. That's a good one.
Witcher's a good game.
Can I tell you about my number 5?
Tell me about your number 5.
It is Pocket Monsters, David. Pokemon.
All right.
Great progression. My goodness. Okay, so let me just set the stage. You've got a tiny little creature, a measly little level 5. Nothing going on. You go out,
piece of garbage.
It's nothing, dude. Like the gust of wind is gonna make it faint.
Yeah.
You go out, you start beating up some little rats, and suddenly there's a bar down in the bottom right that's like, and you get experience points. You're like, what's going on here? This is really fun.
Was this baby's first hit of Ding?
It may be.
Your very first hit of Ding?
Distinct possibility, because not only that, when you get up to the top, it goes, boom, and then you get a new level. Not only that, but hold on. You do get more points. You get stronger. Like, you go back out, you fight another Rattata, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to use Tackle again. It's like, whoa, that did a lot of damage, whereas before it was not doing very much. It keeps looping on itself. You want to keep fighting. You want to get stronger. Fucking level 16 rolls around. Like you said, what's happening here? What is this? Chet the Rat is evolving into Cthulhian horror.
Oh, God.
And like it has this like other layer of progression of becoming like
visual progression.
Love a visual progression, especially in that day and age. Like very rarely did your like cool little character monsters or characters in general like change at any point.
True.
But if you just played the game, you get a fucking dragon or a big plant named Venusaur, or like a
grande turtle.
A grande turtle that has cannons on its back. That's very cool. And not to mention just all the stuff with the story of like, well, if I do this enough, I'll be able to go fight the Elite Four and become the fucking champion. Are you kidding me?
The champion.
Fuck you, Gary. It's mine.
Gary.
No good. The Gary. So yeah,
I wonder if the name Gary took a hit for our generation, like for kids.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people who are having kids naming their kids Gary.
Gary is on notice.
Sorry,
it's a name.
Sorry, Gary dads. I know there's one of you out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Pokemon's really good at this. I get roped into these games so easily because I'm just like, I gotta catch all these fuckers. Like that's just what's gotta happen. I gotta see all their forms. I love in the Pokemon games where at the end of the game, when you've got like your squad rolling around, and then you're like, I need to fill out the rest of my Pokedex, and I've got all these kind of like dumpy little weaker Pokemon. Let me just scoop them up into like my main squad, put the experience share on them, and just go beat the ever-loving hell out of some big Pokemon. And then just like dump experience into this little tiny Pokemon. It's like bing, bing, bing. You got like 10 levels just from fighting one big Pokemon. Oh man, it's phenomenal.
You're so passionate about this progression, about dinging.
David, we're only at number 5. I have so many more things I need to tell you.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready, baby.
Why don't we go to number 4?
All right, number 4 for me is Minecraft.
Minecraft. Okay, sure. Talk to me.
Big on progression in this game, being that the progression is just your imagination.
And like the grind from like stone to iron to gold and
you dig deeper and you get different materials, but really I feel like the progression is just how far have you gotten in your own personal project that you want to create.
Yeah, it's true.
And it just gives you all the tools to do that. And you slowly go from having like just basic ass shovel to like an axe and a pickaxe and all these different tools that allow you to do things better and quicker. And like, man, this pickaxe really gets through that stone real fast. Way better than my shovel, that's for damn sure.
Better than my fists.
Then you just Gimli in the mines of Moria, just down into the depths of the earth, and you don't even know where your home is anymore because you're so deep down and a place where only flame and shadow lives. And then you fall into a lava pile and you die, and then you respawn and you do it all over again, and you just explore to your heart's content and then bring back your resources to create, I don't know, a giant tree house that you've made.
Yeah.
In this giant tree in the middle of an island that's just dope AF with like little bridges and stuff between other trees around it. Oh, that's so good.
I love it when you can set like a shared goal between you and like a handful of other people of like
shared server or something.
Yeah, like here's our home base. I would like to make a castle over here, and I would like to make a farm over there, and here's the mine system that I'm setting up. And like, especially if the server is available, like when not all of you are there, you can kind of just go in and like, okay, I'm gonna go mine for some stuff, dump some diamonds into this like chest, and then, you know, build out some bridge works while the other people are offline. Love that. Oh my god, just like, it's down for the cause, man. I want to.
You just love the shared work, Chase.
Comrade, I am
video game work.
I am ready to serve for the cause.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun having a little shared server, and you're just like, all right, this is our game plan. This is what we're doing. Log on whenever you want. You log on each time. You see what someone's done. It's just like, ooh, wow, they did some fun work over there. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Looks great. Immaculate. Perfect.
One of my like core video game memories is playing with you and Jahan in like 2010. I feel like we were playing Minecraft, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
We like brought out like, I think, or like somebody brought a laptop, but I think there were like multiple desktop computers that we lugged over to my house to play Minecraft.
Yeah.
As like 20-year-old dudes, like even then I was like, this seems like a weird thing, but man, Minecraft is good. It's a good
Minecraft's
video
fun,
game.
man.
Yeah.
Remember I had a Goku skin or something?
Absolutely. Love the skins in there. It's good stuff. Hell yeah. No, love the progression of Minecraft. That's a good one.
What's your number 4, Chase?
My number 4 is Hades, which is
yeah.
bit of a recent inclusion, which I get might be a little bit controversial, but like, man, the amount of progression and feedback loops that they give you in there is just so nice. At every point in the game, it feels like you're taking forward momentum. If you take damage, if you die, it's like, well, I may have died, but I might have learned something, and I certainly got some more stuff I can take home to get better. Whether that's, you know, the meta progression stuff to upgrade your character, or the House of Hades, or you know, change certain stuff about your weapons or some shit like that. Like, oh my god, just the whole thing feels so empowering. Again, we don't need to go on this super hard because we've talked Hades nearly to death. Pun very intended. But we sorry.
Very intended.
But yeah, it's just like, it does such a good job of balancing, like putting enough friction between the player that it's not a cakewalk, but that it just feels so natural to, like, you know, go through every part of the game and feel like it's forward momentum. Even the narrative stuff, right? Like if you're just curious about like what the fuck is going on with Persephone, gotta go find out what's up. Like you have ways to do that are tied into the gameplay. Like, oh god, it's just it's a very good game. I'll stop myself there so we don't have to just go on ad infinitum about fucking Hades.
We've talked a lot about Hades on this podcast.
We sure
before,
have, yeah.
So I think we're good. But yeah, great game. That's an excellent inclusion. I was toying with putting that one in there too.
Sure. Do you want to tell me about your number 3?
My number 3, kind of a twofer.
Okay.
Spider-Man for PS4. And then also Spider-Man 2 on the PS2.
Oh, interesting.
I put 2 Spider-Man games together.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Why?
Yes, I can. Because the way that they do it, at least in my mind, this ding boyness is very similar in that you will just be minding your own business, slinging around the city, and then you hear like someone scream or like a car screeching or some gunshots. You're just like, wait, Spider-Man, I have to go help. I have to go help. I need to fix this. Talking about empowering, like those are the parts of the game that are both like some of the more tedious things to do, but also some of the more empowering things that can make you really start to feel like the character.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, some crime never sleeps, so you got to just answer the call when you're there. You can't just ignore it. You know, you got to stop that car. You got to save that kid's balloon. It's just the way it's got to be if you're Spider-Man, right?
You got to deliver that pizza.
You got to deliver that pizza, that za. And there's always some sort of little experience reward tied to it. At least in the newer ones, it's very much like, here's like a little story beat, little side story beat. Here's some upgrade points, whatever. You know, you get a significant but small reward for each of those. And if you beat like a whole entire chain of quests, then you get an even better reward, like a secret boss fight or a cool new suit. like from Black Cat.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really really well done. It's really tied into the core of the character and the gameplay, which is a nice way of doing something that is otherwise somewhat, repetitive in that it's, kind of just doing the same quest over and over again. But it feels significant enough to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. It's an interesting inclusion. Yeah, I think like the most recent Spider-Man definitely had both kinds of progression, right? Like there's sometimes points that you can put into different skills or different suits or whatever. But yeah, I love the, smaller scale, like somebody has a gun and is, mugging someone. Go fight him,
Go stop them.
Yeah. It's great. Especially like when they do that like very Spider-Man movie thing where the person's just like, thank you, Spider-Man.
As you're swinging away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Spider.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's my hero. Hey, you mess with New York, you mess with Spider-Man, you mess with Brooklyn. Is that what that's the quote from fucking, what is it, the first one, right? When he's fighting Green Goblin on the bridge?
Something like that.
Yeah, like I think
New Yorkers just spouting off some bullshit. Just some guy they found off the street like, you are New York. You need to be in this movie right now.
He's just walking home from work. I'm like, can you say something real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Green Goblin was about to like fuck up Spider-Man. Like they just start hurling trash at Green Goblin, which love that. Hell yeah, no, love Spider-Man. Those are good video games. Can I tell you about my number 3?
Yeah, what is it?
Of course, had to include it. It's Bloodborne, David.
Okay. All right. What was dinging you in this one?
Yeah, so there's a lot of shit in this one. Like every Souls games has a certain amount of ding in me. Like most of them usually have levels, which help quite a bit. That like I can just find a cool little place where I can get a lot of souls and just grind for an hour and get stronger. And then it's similar to Pokemon, go back and do one punch and feel like, oh, that was a lot stronger than it was a few minutes ago. Very good stuff. So that's good. Not to mention like it just sort of intrinsic progression that they build into the game of like, you're going to get better at this video game just naturally. Very good. And you do every time you play one of these games. Like there's moments where you sort of level up in playing it and get better. And whether that means being more patient in the Dark Souls or, learning to dodge roll better in Bloodborne or go back and attack or parrying in Sekiro or whatever, like there's always a moment. You
moment where you become Neo seeing the code.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you'll run back and fight somebody from the early game, because usually these games are very good about level design. They're intricate, and so you'll run into earlier enemies like fairly regularly, and you're like, oh my god, when did I ever struggle with this person? Like this is nothing. And then Bloodborne specifically, because the world and the lore of that game is so much fun and so cool that like partially the progression of that game is just getting to find out like what is going on with all these like gods and the hunt and like all of this shit. Like what is happening here?
The lore progression.
Yeah, it's really good. I think there's some of that in, Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and I think more so Sekiro. Like there's definitely story there, but I love the way that Bloodborne plays out where they're like, there's some definite shit going on here. Like Dark Souls and Demon Souls seem like they're taking place like almost after like huge cataclysmic events, like very far in the future. And like, maybe there's like one big thing that you're doing, right? Like you're fighting one big bad guy or, overturning the power structure of these old fucking, you're going to fight Gwyn and overturning his sort of stranglehold on the world. But in Bloodborne, it feels like shit's playing out very much in real time. And like, you yourself as the player are getting more insight and seeing all these fucking cosmic horrors that have been on the buildings the whole time. And oh god, it's just so fucking good. Not to mention like, you can really dig into how you want to play these games, and Bloodborne is no exception of, you can craft what kind of weapon you're going to use, what kind of build you're going to do. And, you can progress in that sense. Like sometimes you'll have to go like grind for certain gems to like make yourself stronger, or just find out where they're going to be, go fight people and get it that way. And so there's this progression that's like almost self-motivated of like, well, I really want this like ridiculously strong trick weapon or something like that, but I have to go do these X, Y, and Z. And so there's that sort of progression too. So god, Bloodborne gets me going, man. Every time that I see
getting heaved over there,
every time that I see Demon Souls just sitting in my PlayStation 5 tray, I'm like, maybe it's time to Demon Souls again. because that was a really good one too.
That one was quite good.
It's very fun. Just looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks great.
Good Lord. So yeah, love Bloodborne. It's really good.
Nice.
Do you want to tell me about your number 2?
Yeah, it's Civ.
Oh, good one. Good one. It was almost an inclusion for me too.
The whole game is progression. It's progression over the course of history.
Yeah.
Which is tight.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when you go into a different age and all your cities change, your roads change, your units change into something else.
Yeah.
And then you just like roll up on some dude who's still like in the Bronze Age. You're like,
exactly.
What's up, fucker?
I got guns.
You're done. You're toast, dude. It is over. Not even a contest. You just feel like the most powerful thing in the world, and then someone like sends a nuclear submarine
drops a nuke on you,
and you're just like, oh, what have I done? War is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But no, there's so many different ways that the game keeps you playing because there's so many different avenues of progression. You know, there's cultural, there's scientific, there's war, there's making different cities, there's making different units, there's making different monuments or unique structures or stuff like that. It's just a very well thought out game. Seems like there's always something that you could be doing every second that you're playing the game if you're trying to just optimize everything fully.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
Excellent. It's definitely just one more turn. It's definitely the one more turn game.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 a.m. You're like, oh God,
What have I done? Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it was hard not to put it on this list because, yeah, you're right. It's just like that. It is progression, the video game. Every turn being progress is so satisfying, especially if you bump up the speed of the game, where like, you know, you will research tasks will take like 2 or 3 turns or something like that, or building a unit takes 1, or building a huge monument or something like that, just to the point where like it's not 20 turns to finish some sort of research. You're just moving along very quickly.
Yeah.
It does make the warring kind of weird, but you know, I just like clicking the research and getting good. Yeah, it's good. And like you said, that moment where you jump ahead of someone pretty drastically in technology and then are able to just sort of roll over their cities is just the most satisfying. Shit. Oh my God. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. It's a good conclusion. Love that.
It's a good one.
It's on my honorable mentions. Can I tell you about my number 2? Damn.
Yeah, let me hear it.
This one was tough. I flip-flop back and forth between this and number 1, like constantly. Ask me tomorrow, it may be different.
Sure.
And I had a hard time picking one of these games, but for now, my number 2 is Super Metroid, David.
That's a damn good one.
That's a ding boy game. And by including Super Metroid, I hope I'm nodding to all the Metroidvanias that are also like this. There's a lot. So, I think the thing that Super Metroid does really well is giving you a map and letting you sort of run around in it and explore the edges of where you can get to and what you can do, and then allowing you maybe 1 or 2 avenues to get through them. And then at the end of one of those avenues, giving you something that will allow you to go back and go through a different route that you couldn't access before. So whether or not that is you being able to turn into a ball, or put a bomb down, or do a double jump, or anything like that. There's a lot of shit in those games. It definitely was one of the first ones to do that kind of like progression through map and abilities. Like it just makes for such a satisfying experience if you can get somebody to want to explore the map enough, because I know that that's like something that's kind of hard to retain sometimes. It's like, this is overwhelming and a lot of map and I don't necessarily know where to go. But if you can sort of get to the point where you're like, okay, so there are like 5 spots that I can't get to right now. And I just got a new ability that lets me tether onto certain things. Have I seen these blocks before? Where has this been? And then being able to sort of just go explore and find new shit. It's really, really good. Hollow Knight makes great use of this. Oh, yeah. Just phenomenal stuff in there. Same sort of thing with like the double jump, the like air dash that you get, that you can just like fly through the air against certain places. Yeah, all sorts of shit. So like that stuff is really good. And I mean, almost every Metroidvania has some kind of this like mechanic, this level of progression where they are gating you behind certain parts of the map against your abilities, which to me feels pretty natural sometimes. Like it feels a little bit more ingrained into the game rather than just like, this door is locked right now. It's like, well, you can't get through it yet. You don't have the strength, or you don't know how to do it yet, which feels, for whatever reason, better to me. Yeah. I know that, you know, that's again, very specific to me because I like the rush of getting a new ability and thinking like, oh, sweet, I've seen a ton of stuff where I can get through here. I bet I can go collect some missile upgrades, and I bet I can go get through a new door and, you know, find a bunch of secret shit. Like, it's just good. So yeah, love that kind of progression where it's just sort of feeding you little bites at a time. I think it's hard to do because like you really have to nail not letting someone be lost or taking way too much time on one part, or, you know, looking at the map and being like, I have no clue what to do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's hard, but, you know, games like Super Metroid, games like Hollow Knight do it really, really well.
Sure do.
Okay, so we're going to do our number one here in a second.
Do you need to do your honorable mentions?
I will go as fast as I possibly can, but I have a lot of honorable mentions.
I have one, Hades.
Okay, sure. Yeah, totally. Love Hades. Love Hades.
You go.
Okay, sit back, relax, take a load off, have a drink.
I'm ready.
So the first one, obviously, it's Mega Man X. Very good. Love getting new powers at the end of a boss battle. It's an immediate reward for doing good at the level.
Okay.
Getting new fucking shoulder pads whenever you go get a new armor upgrade. The dash.
Yeah.
If you get everything, you can go get the fucking Hadouken, which kills a boss in one hit. Come on. That's a cool progress, dude.
Good.
And I'm also counting a bunch of other Mega Man games in with that because a lot of them do this,
Uh-huh.
including Legends. Legends is a very different kind of game, but same sort of progression of like, now you can skate as Mega Man. So yeah, good stuff there. I'm going to mention Spelunky because it is the purest form of like personal progression. It's very much a roguelike. It is, you don't get a lot of meta progression. You just have to get better at the video game. I think you can kind of qualify The Binding of Isaac as a little bit closer to this, where like it's just a very difficult game initially, but you will get better at it over time. And so like while I honestly bounce off Spelunky pretty regularly, it's not necessarily my game. I totally get that like that kind of progression is just so satisfying for somebody who's good at it. So I had to put it on there. Next, Stardew Valley. Love the progression in Stardew Valley.
Good one.
Starting out with a little dumpy farm. You got nothing. You got like $10 to your name and you can plant like 5 seeds, all the way up to you have a fully irrigated, self-sufficient farming system that you've built from the ground up. Yeah. Sprinklers everywhere. You don't have to do shit. You just go around and pick up your fruit. Like, oh, hell yeah. Love that.
Just picking up my fruit.
The progression of the mines that you go deeper and deeper into, the other cities, you can repair the fucking the community. The mines we've dug too deep and too greedily. What is the line from Lord of the Rings?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Was it really nice?
They dug too deep and too greedily, and they woke something aflame and shadow.
Fucking sweet.
So good.
That's a good line.
So good. So good. Those movies are so fucking good. Anyways, continue.
You know what they awoke in the darkness of Khazad-dûm.
Oh, God. Just rewatch them. I want to watch them again.
I know. They're very good movies. The social progression in Stardew Valley, also very good. You can get your relationships up. You can go rebuild the community center, which gives you fucking other rewards. Just all good stuff. Love Stardew Valley's progression curve there. I included World of Warcraft, and I think that probably includes a lot of MMOs as a result. The progression's pretty heavy in a lot of those games, and I think MMOs have a tendency, or they can play with fire a little bit with their progression, because sometimes it can become a little toxic, especially for the people who are, you know, susceptible to that sort of thing. But man, there's a lot of progression in World of Warcraft specifically. Yeah, like so many skills you can level up. Like anything in the game that you can do, you can level up, and so there's a lot of really good stuff there. Not to mention like skill trees and doing better raids and getting better gear and like all that sort of shit. You can play it how you want to. So a little bit of self-driven progression there. I will say, for whatever reason, MMOs don't catch me quite as hard. Like I like playing them and I will usually do a little bit of them, but pretty much the moment I hit the level cap, I'm done. I don't have a lot of interest in those like post-game raids because like I think it's just not as tangible as like leveling up and going to new zones.
Like, what's the point anymore?
Yeah,
I can't ding anymore. What's the point of this game?
And for some people, that's the game, right? Like the end game is the game. But for me, you know, personally, I just love taking a little trip around Mulgore, leveling up my level 2 Tauren, and then just getting all the way up to the level cap. Feels really good.
great.
Yeah, definitely there have been days where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing for the next couple of days. I'm just going to roll a new character and like get to level 20 or something like that. Very good stuff. Oh, well, David, I'm not close. The next
All right,
one.
Spark Notes versions, Chase. Let's go. Come on.
Elder Scrolls. They have good progression. You're a little wimp at the beginning. You're really good at the end of it. It's just fucking good. Big story quests, all sorts of good shit. Mass Effect. You start as lowly nobody. Well, not nobody, but like then you get your own ship. You get to progress your friendships with all these people, your romances with all these people. You can date aliens in the second 2. You can progress the big story fighting these peepers, and you got to bring them down. Like just all sorts of shit.
Second one, you have to get a lot of money.
Second one, you got to get a lot of money. I love the in-game side missions for like all the people that like get this really significant story payoff, and then also like maybe some cool upgrades on the side. Love that.
Good.
Feels really good. Like you said, Civilization, good stuff. Already went over that. Next one, Total War Shogun. Any of the Total War games will do this, but they do a great job. It's mostly a fighting game, but there's like an overmap that'll show you like your line of your territory, depending on how well you've done, how many good fights you're doing. My goodness. Gotta unify Japan. That is a thing you must do. Good stuff. Speaking of maps that you need to take over, Soul Calibur 2, the arcade edition, David.
Oh my god. The destroyer of quarters.
In the arcade edition of Soul Calibur 2, there was like a card reader that you could make these like personalized cards that would recognize who you are. And it would have this, I think it was just on that arcade. It may have been like hooked up with a few of other ones in the area, but it would track all the other people who would come to that arcade machine and fight your like ghost AI. And everybody
would, like, remember how you fought, right? Or you would like fight the AI and be like, okay, this is how he fights. Like
exactly, yeah. And you know, it felt pretty realistic. Like sometimes you would really get your ass kicked by like the high level people who were in there. But the tangible effect in that is that if you went in and fought a bunch of other people's AIs, you would take over their territory. There was like a map there was like at the very beginning of it, you choose like one of 3 teams. For a while, all those teams just grinded out with each other over the course of like a month. Like it took a long time.
Global was spent there.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Just trying to get some territory back. And it was really fun. Like I loved seeing like the returning people, like the names that always show up. I'm like, oh shit, they decided to go on this team during this, you know, season or whatever it would be. And like they're, you know, power players or whatever, right? Like, so if at any point you saw that they came and put some time in, you're like, oh shit, like the whole map is probably taken over by now. It's, oh my God, just felt good. Like being able to, similar to Minecraft, like have this tangible team work that you're doing to like, you know, help out the cause. Oh my goodness, very good. Okay. I mentioned multiplayer games, like you were saying with Rocket League. Anything with like just fucking 2. We're almost there.
Right.
Just multiplayer games in general, especially the ones like Overwatch where there's a tangible
little
rank.
progressions.
You got your rank. Something like Hearthstone where you have your rank, all that sort of stuff. I don't need to go into it. You know why multiplayer games are good. Yeah. And then finally, all these fucking deck building games. My goodness. Got some good stuff in there for progression. Not only the global progression of unlocking more cards over time, but on the individual run-to-run progression where you're like, man, I have got a good deck going right now. And every card that I add or don't add is a significant amount or a significant impact on the way that this deck is playing. Ooh, very good. Very good progression. Okay.
Are you alive?
I'm okay. I went into a fugue state and started talking about video games.
You became the super Podtimist right there. You went to the next level. With your love of video games. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see.
It's video game Podtimism. Why don't we talk about our number ones at long last?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, what's your number 1?
City Skylines.
City Skylines, a good inclusion, a good one for sure.
I guess this game, and then also just like creation games in general.
Yeah.
Like sim creation games. Because Roller Coaster Tycoon was definitely hitting this button for me the other day as well.
Yep.
But when it is something that is dynamic, like a whole city that I am managing, I guess management games, I can't stop playing because there's always a new problem to solve.
Yeah.
And the new problem, you solve it and it creates other problems and you try to go sideways and then just like you create an energy crisis and it's just, you can't go to sleep when your people don't have any power, Chase. That's not what a good mayor does, all right? It's not what a good mayor does. Works hard and gets the power back on for the people.
I get it.
Right? But it is very satisfying when to see just your population of your city go up, the happiness of the people go up when you put in like a new park.
Yep.
Everybody gets like a little smiley face above them in a certain radius, and it feels good to do that.
Sure.
Reading like the socials about how people love being in your city or hate being in your city, and you have to change things.
Yeah.
And then just all the sweet graphs that change dynamically with just like how educated is your population, like how many kids, adults, or old people are there, like what areas need more policing, what areas have too much pollution, how can you fix the pollution? You have to upgrade your power plants to this clean energy, and that takes all these kind of requirements to get there, and it's just, oh my God, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. There's never really an end to what you can do, it feels like, or what you need to do, especially in the early game where things are kind of tenuous. It's just like, oh God, what am I doing? People really love like living here. Am I providing a good town for these folks?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's a whole entire aspect of just being creative and creating a cool looking city and making neat bridges and, oh God, the traffic flow. Oh my God. Nightmares about poor traffic conditions in my city.
Absolutely.
Need to pick Emily Alice's brain about this because I have no clue what I am doing. I'm like a baboon with a keyboard trying to enter the passcode of good traffic flow, and I just don't know how to do it at all.
The other day I was playing City Skylines just kind of on a whim. It's on Gamepass, so I just was like, all right, I'll start a new city.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way of just like, I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing with traffic.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but like, surely it doesn't translate to the real world, right? Like The Sims doesn't feel like how you actually live your life. So surely the traffic won't make any sense. Sure enough, I'm like sitting on the couch. I'm like, hey, I have a traffic issue here. Emily Alice, can you like just, what would you do here? And she's like, well, you got to add like a couple of one-way roads over there and then a roundabout over in this spot. And that would probably like relieve some of it. I'm like, okay. And then just put that in, immediately solved. I'm like, oh my God.
Like, what is this black magic?
She has the gift.
She has the gift. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
Hell yeah. Love City Skylines. A lot of games are like this where it just sort of like they are serving
the Tycoon series.
Yeah, exactly. They're serving you problems and you must solve them.
Yeah, but like dynamic problems, which is the engaging part.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not I was going to say, it's not just like an earthquake, although that was in SimCity for a little
That
while.
was in SimCity, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the concessions are too much money and there's not enough bathrooms here. Or,
Yes.
you know, people are saying that this ride's too cheap and you're losing business, so maybe you need to do some marketing campaign, but that takes money too. It's just like, oh my God. It gives me anxiety, but like good anxiety. Anxiety that I know I can solve. That has no real world ramifications.
That's always really the best part.
Always the best part of that. Yeah.
For sure.
What about you? What's your number one, Chase?
So, again, I went back and forth. Again, ask me to do this list next week. It'll probably be an entirely different list. But for my money, right now, the best Ding Boy game for me, it's Fire Emblem. There's a lot of progression in Fire Emblem, and man, does it have its hooks in me whenever I play one of these games.
Yeah, it sure does.
So, like, I think the biggest thing that usually hooks me in is the cocktail of your units are always in danger. If they die, that's it. So you want to get them strong. You want to get them like strong enough to survive. So you're very much like, okay, whenever I go into battle, I kind of want to spread the experience out a little bit and, just kind of watch them get stronger over time. Eventually, they get strong enough to class up, which makes them like bigger, stronger units. Like, ooh, they've got a wyvern that they ride now. That's fucking cool.
That is cool.
And shit like that, to the point where like you're kind of always just like, or at least when I'm playing them, I'm always like, oh, I can't wait to like level them up to like get the progress up and like make these because they're characters, right? Like they're people. And so you immediately both care about them mechanically, and then the good Fire Emblem games will make you care about them narratively too. Obviously, Three Houses is like the best at this. There's so much time to go back and like hang out with your characters and really give a shit about who is on the battlefield rather than just like some icon for like, it's a unit, it's a tank. No, dude, that's fucking Leticia. She's the strongest goddamn mage out here.
Don't
so,
fuck
like,
with her.
Similar to Hades, it is this sort of intrinsic loop of I initially care about the characters or the units because I want to continue playing the game and I want to win. And then they give me story beats to make me care about the characters. And then when I go back into battle, I am even more attached to them and do not want to lose them. And so I want to level them up more to make them stronger, to make them more like undeniably like you cannot fuck with these characters. I like them too much. Yeah. And then they go back into the story and feed me more fucking story bits. And like just over and over and over again, I get like sucked into these games because I cannot stop. I cannot put them down.
Yeah.
And it just feels incredible to level up both mechanically and narratively. It's very good stuff. I had a really good time with the ROM hacks of these games too. They did a really good job.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah, they did a good job of kind of introducing different story beats that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a traditional Fire Emblem game. That played out the characters a little bit more. But I mean, nothing holds a candle to Three Houses. It's unbelievably good at that. So yeah, that's my fucking number one. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Whew.
You still look exhausted, Chase.
I have so many feelings. I have so many dings that I need to get out.
You got a lot of dinging. You're a ding man now.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, great. That was a really cool list. I love talking about progression in video games. And I don't think your list was subpar at all. You said at the beginning that you're like, wow, I got a weird one. No, David, a good list.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It was a good list. I liked your list.
Hey everybody, we are on Twitter at Podtimism.
We are.
Tweet us.
If you want to.
Retweet us. If we tweet anything anymore, if you want to.
We got quote tweeted by the Gex bot the other day. I don't know if I told you that or not.
The Gex bot?
There's like a bot that just generates like what would be Gex lines. They must just be trolling Twitter for whenever someone mentions Gex, which we did.
What did it say?
It was just it looked like a Gex tweet. Didn't make any sense. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the Gex bot said, "This looks like the International Talk Like a Pirate Day at Lil Fizz's ranch." Nothing.
Oh my God.
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know at all what that means.
Nope.
But we're on Twitter.
We are there, yeah.
We are also at podtimus@gmail.com if you want to email us. Electronic snail mail, as they say.
We're also just at podtimism@gmail. Don't even
That's
need
what
to.
I said.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool. Great.
I thought I said at podtimism@gmail, right?
Either way, either one works, baby.
If I didn't, that's what I meant.
Great,
Anyways,
yeah, nice.
You can also, write us a review if you want on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
It really helps us out.
It does.
Subscribe, or whatever it is that you can do on any of your other podcast apps that you use. If you don't use Apple Podcasts, you can really refer us to a friend too. Have a friend try us out, and maybe they like us, maybe they don't. That's fine. Whatever. We're cool. We're chill.
It's all
That's
good,
fine.
baby.
That's fine. We get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and thank you for spending your time with us.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways you can spend your time, but you chose us. So thank you.
Yeah. Huge thanks. Love our listeners. We support you. And just on a personal note, I hope you're having a good day or night or afternoon, wherever you're listening to this.
Yeah. I hope it all is well with you.
And if not, it'll get better.
True.
Or you'll have the strength to get through it. Either one.
Yeah. Do you have any video game wisdom for us this week, Chase?
I would say if you're making a top 5 list, maybe don't bring 20 items to that list. Like the sort of equivalent of bringing a cannon to a knife fight. Maybe a little bit of an overcommitment.
I've brought 20 items to our top 5, and I'm also doing a top 6.
Sort of not really playing by those rules. But, they do call me the bad boy of video games.
You are the bad boy of the Podtimism cast.
I'm the bad boy. I wear a leather jacket. I hold my Nintendo controller upside down. And I've got that Sonic, Spyro, Gex batitude that all the people love.
Oh my God, Sonic, Spyro, and Gex batitude all combined into one?
I'm doing the hardest DreamWorks face that you've ever seen.
Can I see it?
I'm a lovable little scamp. I'm the hero, but also maybe not. Maybe I'm just a little scamp who likes to make trouble.
I'm a good person, but I'm kind of an asshole sometimes.
But I blow fire on sheep, because they are cheap.
Because my dragonfly needs to eat.
Anyway, this has been Video Game Podtimism. Tell your dad that I said hi.
Wow. I will, Chase.
Cool.
Likewise, you can tell your dad I said hi.
You too, listener. I want you to tell your parents that I say hello.
I want you want to tell your parents just winky face with a finger gun. So you can communicate that to somebody.
That would be phenomenal. Thank you.
Great.
Anyway, tell your dad I said hi.
See you, Chase.
Bye.